Kinda upset that this chapter wasn't focused on Guy and Madara's fight, but I felt like this chapter was a much needed character backstory and character development for the Sage's Six Paths. So let's get on to that. This chapter over in a whole was a very good chapter. Really progressed the plot in a good direction, and it did a great job of introducing the Sage's Six Paths for the first time with his character design. I really love his character design. The way Kishi drew him was amazing. He looked old, older than I expected, and he had weird horns on his head that reminded me like of a demon or something. I know the Sage's Six Paths is supposed to be a good guy, but it's kind of messed up to see how he looks kind of like a demon. So this first half of the chapter actually focused on comedy elements and probably just trying to lighten up the characters. I really don't like it, honestly. It was really boring. I understand that it's the aspect of Naruto's character, how he tries to interact with other people, especially if he can't understand the dialogue and language, which is standard Naruto. He wasn't out of character in that scene, but I think it was just wasted potential in the chapter. Kishi could have easily have used these parts to actually get more in depth with the Sage's Six Paths, but I guess that's a small nitpick of this chapter. Really, I love the beef of this chapter. The overall plot was good, so let's talk about that. We find out that the Sage's Six Paths has a brother. This took me back. I was like, he has a brother. Now, we have never heard about this, or I don't remember if it has, and I was like, this is shocking. So, we find out that he has a brother, and then we really don't find out exactly what happened to his brother. We know the Sage's Six Paths has children, but we don't know exactly what happens to his brother. So, this is really weird. We also don't know what happens to the Sage's Six Paths mother. So, I feel like it's very interesting. But one of the major key features of this chapter that was really interesting, I know that Naruto is the reincarnation of Ashura, but what main feature of this chapter that really stood out to me, honestly, as a reader of the Naruto manga, was the fact that chakra goes and travels through time. For instance, when the Sage's Six Paths died, or when his children died, their chakra kept flowing through the future, and eventually met into someone, like they went inside someone, and this is very strange. It really is. It's definitely different. So, pretty much the reincarnations of like Ashura or Indra got inside of different people and slowly corrupted them or did their own ways. Like, for instance, Madara and Hashirama. We get to see how they had a, fight and rivalry in the past. We know how that ended up. They kind of remind me of these two characters of the Sage's Six Paths sons. So, maybe the entire aspect of why all these wars and the entire cycle of hatred is started is because the reincarnations of Ashura and Indra has been going down the timeline over and over again with their chakra and kind of like twisting people's real personalities. I don't know, but it's very interesting. I love the way it was introduced in this chapter, because it brings up a lot of different aspects in the line, because it probably brings up a lot of factors of why there's always been constant wars and hatred, and it always seems to have the same themes of the characters, like we have the same themes with all the major villains. This really explains it, and I feel like Kishi did a good job of explaining this. It was a really well written chapter. I like the dialogue in it. This chapter is a really dialogue heavy chapter, which is my favorite when it comes to actually very good plot. I hate talk no jutsu, but when it comes to actually progressing the plot, this was good. I love these type of chapters. So Kishi, good work on that one. Really, all in all, I like the artistic style of this chapter. The artistic style, even though there wasn't a lot going on in the background, especially when you get to see the Sage's Six Paths and Naruto talk. I love the way the tree was drawn. The tree of chakra, the way it was drawn was just really beautiful. I love the way Kishi drew that. The artwork on that was awesome, and I liked it all in a whole. Really, I did. So, we find out that pretty much the major factors of what the Sage's Six Paths saw in his children. He saw one that was gifted with, extreme power, everything. He didn't have to work hard for it. He was a born genius. And we had one that was born with nothing and had to work hard to be able to become strong. It kind of reminds me of Naruto in an instance. And this also explains the, reincarnation of Ashura inside Naruto. We've always heard that, Naruto was the reincarnation of the Sage's Six Paths. But we found in this chapter that's actually the Sage's Six Paths child, which was shocking. I was shocked with it. And I loved the way it was developed like that. It didn't feel out of place to where it felt like an ass pull. It really felt like a really good chapter that explained a lot going on in the overall plot of Naruto. So, even though we didn't have amazing action with Guy and Madara this chapter, I felt like this chapter was really needed, and it was definitely a well-placed chapter. Didn't feel out of place, and it's not talk no jutsu, so I feel like this chapter couldn't have been placed any better, and definitely was a good chapter. Really, I can't wait to see these chapters animated. It's going to be freaking awesome in the anime, because I love the way these chapters have been recently, the way they've been drawn, the artistic style of it, the way the plot has been progressing. I feel like Kishi's finally starting to quicken the pace a little bit to make it a lot better, and so this chapter really shows that. Anyways, tell me your thoughts on this chapter, everybody. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? What was your favorite moments of this chapter? And what did you feel about the introduction of the Sage's 6 paths? Maybe everybody that dies has their chakra just traveling through time, like let's say Kakashi's father or something will eventually go back to like someone reincarnated inside them, or is it just, the Sage's 6 paths children, and the Sage's 6 paths? So there's a lot of questions on this, a lot of mysteries to that were brought up, but I feel like it's a very interesting theory and most likely can prove possible. So tell me your thoughts on this, everybody. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live, and everybody, love you so much. Chibi out.